When you think of the golden era of Minecraft, when do you think back to? If you're a newer player, you'll probably think back to updates like maybe 1.11, 1.7, or others like that. If you're an older player like myself though, this question is fairly hard to answer. Usually, there's a lot of factors that come into play, primarily things like playability, the contents of each update, and more. Some people consider the glory days of Minecraft to be the ones before Notch sold his company to Microsoft, and some consider that day to be the beginning of the actual start of Minecraft rather than its end. In this video, we're going to discuss Minecraft's golden era and see whether or not we can pin it down to a specific place and time. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So, a few days ago, Michaelmcchill, the co-writer and editor for this video, was hanging out with his friends and decided to start up a beta 1.3 server in Minecraft. Shortly after doing this, the gears started turning and the idea for this video was born. When we were discussing the idea for the video, I had remembered a tweet that Notch, Minecraft's original creator, had recently posted to Twitter about the game. When asked, "Notch, what do you think the golden year of Minecraft was?" Notch responded with 2019 and then said, "Nah, just kidding, this year sucked for it." To worried fans, remember, it's yours, not theirs. You make your own adventures in there and anywhere else you go. Well, at first, it sounds like a potentially inspirational quote about the state of the game and how he would revamp various things if he were given the opportunity. I don't think it actually seems that way. I genuinely think he's pretty mad. Whether it's because he's salty or because he genuinely doesn't like the game anymore, or his status with the game and how he's constantly bothered about it, who knows? If I had to make a guess, I think it's pretty obvious that Notch doesn't appreciate Minecraft's new owners even years after the purchase of the game. Well, there's a lot that we could cover about Notch's recent controversies, including all of the reasons why any reference to Notch was removed from the game entirely. Aside from his spot in the credits for the game, we won't. For the sake of not covering mature themes, and for the sake of not being demonetized, we wanted to focus on one thing he said during his Twitter tirade. 2019 is not a golden year, and 2019 sucked for Minecraft. Well, it's not exactly a fair assessment because we're only 3 months into 2019. Let's indulge him. While the entire situation is a bit depressing, I'd like to take the opportunity to talk about Minecraft in 2019, especially in comparison to the earliest versions of the game. Let's go back, but not all the way back. Instead of heading back to the alpha versions of Minecraft, let's stop at beta, specifically beta 1.3. But why? Honestly, the alpha versions of the game were way too early to really be considered any sort of golden era for Minecraft. Alpha Minecraft was pretty much just basic block building and not much on top of that, but it was definitely very appealing to look at. Beta Minecraft was where it really started. Things took effect there. If you were playing Minecraft back in the day, every single update was exciting at that point. One of Minecraft's most exciting updates ever were beds. I'll never forget the experience of creating a bed for the first time and actually having a way to escape the night, especially back in the day. If you didn't escape the night, monsters would spawn in your room and potentially kill you in the dark. On top of beds having been added, certain things that actually had functionality in the base game sometimes did not have their functionality in multiplayer. An example of this would be namely the Nether. So how did the game make up for this though? Simple and interesting mechanics. Back in the day, you were constantly flinging your head all around, wondering if you were safe. Even back in the day. Items like food didn't stack up at all back then, meaning that you needed to cook food one at a time and each food took up one slot. On top of that, there was no hunger, meaning that you, in no way, could gradually regain your health. You literally had to prioritize what you had in your inventory. Though, on the contrary, if you didn't take any damage at all and you were just such a wizard at Minecraft, then maybe you didn't need much food at all. But now, we carry endless shulker boxes in ender chests. If you died with everything in your inventory, it was much harder to get your items back. Usually, you would die because a mass of creepers would be chasing you and you couldn't sprint away from them at all. It was comparable to a brisk walk in the park with a car driving behind you at the same speed. The hair on your neck would probably be standing up while you're running away from the creeper. If you got caught and you died, recovering your items was far more difficult, as you couldn't sprint back to the location where you died, meaning you probably either stayed in your lane and either cut your losses or attempted to trek back, usually finding nothing. If you got back to your base with at least some of those items, maybe you would go to a chest and try to put all of your items into a chest, only to find out that you couldn't shift click them into the chest. It's the little things sometimes. Everything about Minecraft was slow back then. Everything. The only things that were really fast were the glitches that players used. One glitch that became a very active aspect of the game was the heavily utilized door glitch. If you were deep in a cave and you didn't want to find your way out, you could make a few doors, place them in a spot with a too high ceiling, and then stand in between the door and the other blocks. Logging out and logging back in, you would notice that you would be shot up to the closest non-obstructed area. Another very fast thing was bows and arrows, which would allow you to launch arrows endlessly with no drawback and no time in between the arrows firing. When you decided to start crafting items like doors or ladders, you only got one item instead of multiple. All things considered, not only was each individual action slower in older versions of Minecraft, but things just felt more expensive back then too, especially with wooden related items. These beta versions of the game were functionally limited, arguably up until beta 1.8 anyways, when creative was introduced into the game. Like creative mode, the density of quality of life updates increased following the beta 1.8 update, such as sprinting and shift clicking items. Things like this made Minecraft easier to understand, especially when we had to install mods like too many items and single player commands to do simple things like stacking food and more prior to the beta 1.8 update. With more and more that gets added into the game though, is it honestly more easy to grasp now versus back then? On top of quality of life updates like stackable food, easier access to basic resources like seeds and more, the game has gotten pretty big. Simple things like walking past a player on a beam in the beta days was a death trap. You literally had to coordinate your every move, otherwise you would push someone off the high wire. Now, it's fixed and it's super easy. On top of small changes like that, the game just has more features, which honestly makes it harder to remember everything that there is. But I don't know that a lot of features is necessarily a strike against the game here. How could an era like beta be considered the golden era of Minecraft whenever more content than ever is coming out right now? I mean, I'm not talking bad about the era either. The beta days were huge. People loved them, myself included. If anything, the fact that I can carry on so long about both versions should show both of their strong suits. 1.13 and 1.14 really speak for themselves. They're great updates, undeniably. They've added so much into the game that we get more and more excited for the latter's release every single day. While the release versions of Minecraft are arguably cleaner than the beta versions, the release lacks the intensity that the beta versions have. Release versions of Minecraft are relatively relaxing, but in beta, you're constantly tilted, swinging your head from left to right, seeking out any potential threats. How bad things could go wrong in beta could be determined by one little thing going wrong, whereas in the release versions of the game, you only have to think for a second to have a plan, which is to sprint away from your problems. In terms of generic survival, you need to be more strategized in the beta days due to your limited food supply and a non-regenerating health pool, but in the release updates, boss fights are insanely difficult and require attention on all sides while they're going, comparable to regular survival within Minecraft beta. Boss fights in release versions give a very eerily similar feeling to being in a cave with 10 mobs in the beta versions of Minecraft. And don't even get me started with the mods. Mods were plentiful in all versions of Minecraft, but beta definitely popularized it, bringing a new way to play Minecraft to the masses. Mods like the Aether were forces for change, and communities stood to the challenge of conquering the mod itself, or conquering it on the Minecraft forums with their own creation. And this still happens today. Bigger and badder mods are being released all the time. Yes, beta is cool. And yes, so is Minecraft 1.14. In terms of Notch's golden year comment, I don't really know how to feel about it. For players like myself and Michaelmcchill, we look back fondly on the older updates, but many of our friends and members of our community are definitely looking forward to 1.13 and 1.14 as some of the most exciting things they've ever seen in Minecraft. For a lot of people, this is the golden era of Minecraft. New advancements that we could have only imagined of 8 years ago are being made, and we couldn't be more excited if we tried. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's up to you. The golden era is whatever you decide it to be, not what someone else decides it to be for you. Take Minecraft and make with it whatever you want, and play it like it's your golden era. But what do you think about this topic? Do you like the older versions of the game, or do you like the newer? Or do you believe there are multiple golden eras? My first golden era was in the beta 1.7 days of Minecraft, when my most formative memories were starting to be formed, but I'm also experiencing a golden era right now. But other than that, that just about does it for me for now. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like on it, because it would really help out myself and Michaelmcchill, who co-wrote and edited this video, the channel and the video quite a lot. But anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed. My name is AntVenom, and I bid you all farewell. Thanks so much for watching.